seriously, if Obi-Wan Kenobi was like, it seems you have found your way into a much larger Star Wars. And then he kind of looks at the camera.
Did you ever play the game, Describe Your Last Bowel Movement with a movie title?
No.
It was a real nightmare on Elm Street.
I like the one Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. We did this when we would go camping. Like, we'd go on hikes, and the whole hike, this is what we would do.
Really communing with nature.
Yeah, there was that.
My last one was a real Phantom Menace.
Oh, you. Big Business works for this one, too. Yep.
There is no shortcut to get to 300 issues of a comic book.
Love it, like it, loathe it, whatever it is. You have to have respect for the journey that he's taken.
Todd's a visionary.
That guy literally came from nowhere. Out of nowhere.
When I bought my first comic at 16, I just went, oof. I got 300 rejection letters.
Todd started out as someone that was rising up through the ranks that wasn't embraced by the people running Marvel at the time.
Every time I tried to do something, they went, you can't. You can't. So I can't do panels that overlap. I can't have appendages come out. I said, break the rules and make it look cool.
They wanted Spider-Man to shine. They didn't want Todd to shine.
There just become moments where I just go, if nobody's going to do it for me, I'll do it myself.
Oh, yeah, I got this character. He's dead. He's from hell. And I'm calling him Spawn.
It was completely unique.
It was a game changer.
Sold 1.7 million copies.
Todd did for toys what he did for comics.
He did it all on his own.
It's Todd's brain.
Success, for the most part, comes with a target.
You can't be in the public eye as Todd is and not have people try to take you down.
He nearly lost everything.
Except, I'm not going to get pushed around. I'm going to fight back.
I won a contest, and I got to watch the Todd McFarlane documentary.
Yes.
Before it came out. And I really, really liked it, and I was so excited, and it was really inspiring, and I was like, you guys got to see this. And then in comes Jason. And he's like,
shit. I was at work.
No. His arms are folded just like they are now. He's like, no, you can't like it.
You can't like it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he told me. He said, I'm not allowed to like it.
So
no, God forbid someone else has a different opinion about Todd McFarlane.
So you both watched the documentary?
And if we're going to talk about extreme reactions,
I don't have
any. I believe it started with Dave saying that Todd McFarlane was a god in human form, and that it made Dave feel bad for being a human being or something like that.
Yeah, probably said something like that.
It was like the guy's a good artist, all right.
No, I think all right. If you were really gonna put it that way, yeah, no, he is. He's kind of an art god. Like he's as like the pinnacle of what you could strive to be in lots of ways. And it's Justin. I think Justin was kind of like, or maybe it was you, but like it kept on going back to like, yeah, he's financially in business sense, like, yes, but I don't agree. Like I feel like the success of his work, sure, he's a good businessman, but he wouldn't be without being a fantastic artist on top of that.
You are right. I will tell you that I will agree that he would have been forgotten by now if his work didn't match that.
Yeah, and it's his artistic ideas that have pushed to industries that we're here to talk about every week, to levels that they would not have been attained to without his help.
Let me tell you this, Dave.
Tell me this.
So I watched the documentary also.
Yeah. And a documentary which when we had our initial conversation or argument, you claimed he made about himself, which just isn't true.
Actually, I think that one was Justin.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Yeah. Don't. Let's not put Justin's words in my mouth. All right.
Well, you're both the same human being to me.
They are the
I
other.
will say that when I started it with my wife and my son, and yes, admittedly, I kind of was doing what Dave just said. I was kind of sitting on the couch, crossed-armed, like, let's watch this documentary about Todd McFarlane. And my son was like, I'm getting the impression that you don't like this guy too much. And I was like, am I? And then as they were watching, they were like, oh, this guy seems kind of cool. Like, you know, even my wife, who learns through comic books through osmosis from me, she said, like, well, even I know Todd McFarlane's artwork, and I don't read comics and stuff. And I said, you know, some of the reactionary stuff is, and again, it's a personal opinion. I do love the guy's artwork. I've said it. His original run on Amazing Spider-Man is legendary.
So why were you so angry about going into this, and why were you so quick to defend the polar
some
opinion
of
of
the
mine?
stuff, you know, I keep saying this, the thing that irks me, and even in this documentary, they did it a few times, where they kept referring to Spawn 300 hitting 300 issues and Todd, you know, like getting him all this attention. It's like, yes, he created a character that has lasted 300 issues. I do get that. But, like, he's like taking so much of the acclaim where it's like, you didn't. Like, you've only drawn like 15 issues of Spawn.
But he never said he drew 300 issues of Spawn. He said his
They
comic
definitely
book
said, like,
has made 300 issues.
In this issue, in this documentary, they said, like, to have someone personally overseeing 300 issues and stuff like that, and it's like,
No. The award that he has right now is the longest running independent comic book, which was previously held by, what's his name, the guy that did Cerebus, and that went to 300. So now he's succeeded, that Spawn has just gone past 300 years, 300 issues, and that's the award that he,
and I think,
deservedly,
to not speak for Justin, but I think what he was trying to say is the same as me, and it is almost maybe a little bit of tough love.
Yeah.
In that, it's like, dude, if you drew Spawn, I would buy it. I'll say it flat out. Like, if he drew, well, part of it is like, why? Part of it's anger in that, why didn't you draw issue 300? It's your baby. This is the thing that you keep talking about, how proud you are.
I'm going to completely agree with that, and that seems bonkers for him to not draw the 300.
He drew like a big splash page.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
it was cool.
When it really comes down to it, it's like, what the fuck else are you doing, Todd?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
What if I really hate drawing?
Let me say it like this, Dave. At the very end of the documentary, and I texted you. I was like, "That was a fun documentary. I love all comic book documentaries like that."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he does deserve it. It's Todd McFarlane. You said it, and it's true. But at the end of the documentary, he said something like, people ask me about the future and what I'm going to do, and like, what are you going to do when you're 80? And he said, I'm probably still going to be the comic book guy sitting down to draw. And it's like, but you're not doing that now.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish that were true. Like, Justin kind of said it. It's like, it's the same reason why, like, when Rob Liefeld draws like a Marvel or a DC book, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I like it.
Yeah. And he still actually draws.
Yeah.
I
think that's what Rob Liefeld's tweet was all about, because it did seem a little bit like a dig. It
was a dig, but it was like kind of like misguided and misinformed too. Like, again, like what I just said, like, he never claimed to draw 300 issues. You know, his comic has just, surpassed 300 issues, which is a big deal. But
to sit here and like,
all right, so I'm a fan of his, and I follow him on social media and all that stuff, and he gives like a drawing tutorial every day.
Yeah.
Like, every day he's on his Wacom tablet and he teaches you how to draw something, which means he sits down and he draws
Are they the turtle in the old drunk's hat? The bird.
Submit your drawing now, and we might tell you that you could potentially be an artist. I wanted to do that so bad.
When he first started, when the Spawn was reaching 300,
yeah,
he was doing covers for Spawn that were like homages to his Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I was buying them. I haven't bought an issue in Spawn since 1990 whatever.
Yeah. I do not like homage covers, period. But
you don't?
Nope.
Really?
I think they're a hack.
Oh my
I think
God.
that it's
Oh damn.
No, I'm curious. I've heard other people say this, and I'm curious.
I just think it's bullshit. I think that you should come up with your own iconic cover and, like, you know, really do something that people remember greatly, and with your own work, with your own style, with your own content, with your own amazing book. And, you know, there's the argument to be said that, you know, half of the reason why that cover is so famous, any given cover, right, that has that kind of like iconic status, it's not necessarily just the content of the actual cover. It's the content of the book and everything, you know, the last 10 issues of that book and the next preceding 10 issues that makes that cover so important, right?
To me, an homage cover is almost like a cover song.
Yeah.
In that it's like, it's okay if you do it every once in a while, and I kind of want to see your take on it.
Right. It might be interesting to see what Marilyn Manson does with
like a Beatles song or something.
With the Carpenters.
Yeah.
You know, there are modern artists I like that I think if they say, hey, I want to pay homage to this cover because I saw it as a kid and it helped influence me.
Yeah, but it's weird.
It's just I was curious because I trust your opinion on art.
I trust yours as well, and I appreciate everything that you just said, and I feel like I may have turned to the dark side.
The other thing is, again, though, it is true. It's the toys. I mean, Todd McFarlane's the toy line was smart in that comics were dipping, but toys weren't.
Yeah, toys. I remember, like, it's funny. That's like, at the time when comics started to dip, I started to get more into toys. And it's weird. Like, and I don't know if the industry dictated that for me or if I was, you know, a fan dictating what the industry should be, the demand, creating the demand, you know?
People our age were getting to the age of, like, accepting that, like, I still like toys.
Yeah.
You know, and like they don't have to be like I can collect a toy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's funny. I think I've probably said this on the show before, but like in 1996 or like 98 or something like that, when I was like hardcore garage sailing and like going to like, you know, swap meets and all that horse shit, I had no idea how close the 80s really were, you know, at the time. Like, for example, I walk into a fucking Goodwill right now and I march over to the toy section thinking that there's going to be some fucking piece of 40-year-old plastic sitting on the counter. Like, the chances of that happening are so fucking slim now. Whereas when I was going to like Goodwill and the Salvation Army to look for vintage toy, quote unquote vintage toys in the 90s, it was like, it was a super obtainable, like 8 out of 10 figures on the aisle were going to be from the 1980s. And so I just wish that I had taken more advantage.
It's funny you say that because I was sitting there thinking somewhat similarly recently where I was like, I remember it being like 98, 99 when the like G.I. Joe Transformers resurgence started hitting. And at the time thinking like, damn, I remember this from my childhood. And it was like, that wasn't that long ago.
G.I. Joe Extreme.
We don't talk about G.I. Joe Extreme, thank you.
Surrounded on all sides. The odds of survival are 1,000,000 to 1. G.I. Joe Extreme! And with the collapse of the former superpower,
several powerful factions now vie for control.
The threat is real and evil nothing short of total world domination, led by this man, known only as Iron Claw. We will be victorious! Not on my watch! Situation critical. Roll call!
Ballistic! Harpoon! Mayday! Black Dragon!
Sergeant Savage!
Greek Steak! Melvin!
Right! Lieutenant Stone! The odds are 1,000,000 to 1. And that's the way.
Or like NES games, like you guys know I collect Nintendo games. I remember this one time I was at this, what is it called?
Orgy.
When lots of it's like an orgy of vendors who are selling their crap
swap
all in
meet.
one place. Huh?
Swap meet.
I guess. What's the other word?
Farmer's market.
Farmers.
Flea market.
It's not a farmer's market.
Flea
They're just
market.
selling flea market. Yeah, there we go. Why don't
A
I remember?
hippy dippy doodah.
So I was at this flea market, and this dude literally had a back of a truck full of NES
God.
cartridges.
Oh my God.
Bed of a truck, right? And I was like, how much are these things? And he's like, 50 cents a piece, but if you want to buy all of them, we can make a deal. And I was like, that's too much.
Oh my.
And I kept on walking.
And let me tell you, as someone that works in like a place that resells stuff, the window of nostalgia is getting smaller and smaller.
Is it?
You have now people getting nostalgia about Wii games and Twilight and the Hunger Games are making a comeback because people are now nostalgic about it.
Yeah, because I mean, the kids that were 15 then, right?
They're now like 25.
They're 25 now. Yeah.
Does it make you question our own tastes at all?
Yes, it did. And that's what actually got me thinking about like the G.I. Joe thing. I was like, I was buying G.I. Joes and I was way too old in like 1992.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like finding a 40-year-old piece of plastic is a really fucking rare thing now.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. Like even if you see like an NES game that you don't like at a garage sale, you just have to buy it because it's your social duty to buy it. Because if you don't buy it and no one does, they're gonna fucking throw it away. You know?
You guys ever watch those hoarders type shows?
Of course.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this lady that was on? They did like a hoarders type thing, and they found a vase from an ancient Chinese dynasty, and it's worth $9 million.
Nuh-uh.
Swear to God.
That's the worst fucking lesson ever.
Yeah. Well, you want to put that in your toss pile or your yard sale pile?
Yeah. Master Freddy. All right, since we're on the topic of toys real quick, I got this guy at the Walmart. It's a Shin Godzilla. He stands about 3.5 to 4 inches tall.
Yeah.
It's a 60th anniversary celebration blind box series, but they're not really blind. You can actually pick what you get.
Hey, Dave, look what I got next to me.
Nice.
Hey, check it out.
You show me your Godzilla, I'll show you mine. But anyway, I'm just saying, for $5, no, I didn't get it at Walmart. I got it at Target. For $5, these toys are made out of vinyl. The details
just
fucking
blind?
amazing. Yeah, it's not blind. They're set up like blind boxes, but you can actually pick the one that you get.
So what are your options?
There are 2 other Godzillas other than this one. I think there's a 54 and a 93, maybe. I don't know. Xavier's not here. He would be able to tell me. Then there's a Hedorah. There is a Shin Godzilla First Form. There's a Anglius. And
oh my God.
Yeah,
all right, well, guess what? I'm going.
A Mechagodzilla from 94, whatever.
I will be going to Target and getting some.
Yeah, so for $5, like they're kind of like a no-brainer.
I mean, hold it up again. That's a pretty decent sized Godzilla for $5.
It's 4 inches, but still, again,
This damn thing was like $15 when I bought it.
Yeah.
But it is
That's
pretty
nice,
cool.
though.
$1.
Tissues, $1. And also, I know a lot of people out there are big into the Star Wars Black Series. I'm not personally a collector. I have like a couple, but there are absolute fanatics that, put them in bookshelves and they have to have every fucking number because they're numbered on the spine and everything. Are you that person?
No, I was really close to it though.
Yeah. And so like they literally are like chasers and like they're deep into it. I'm not that person. Again, I have like 4, but I had to invest on because of the character that it is and the color that it is because it goes in my black room. Oh shit,
that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
An Imperial probe droid. I have to say it's worth every fucking dollar. Like this is the Black Series at its absolute best. The paint job is perfect. The sculpt is perfect. There's articulation everywhere where you need it. It has a transparent stand. If you can see this toy, you'll probably
How much was it? Like $20?
It might have been closer to 30. But
Black
again,
Series
I don't feel. Yeah,
my addiction started when I saw there was a Darth Maul they put out with the cloak.
Yeah.
Like in Phantom Menace when he has like those binoculars.
Yeah.
And I saw it at my comic shop and it was like $18. And
you
so I
guys
was
seen
like,
these?
I have to have it.
This is This is a Nylabone. It's
Freddie, you got to step up your game, man. You're going to be on YouTube. You got to have cool stuff just sitting around.
It's chewed on both sides.
Like I have a Swiffer sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
One last toy review from Dave. I got the Lego Star Wars brickheads.
Oh shit!
And so it comes with both the Mandalorian and the Child. I bought 2 of them. I gave one to Xavier and I kept one for myself. And Xavier and I put it together. Well, mostly he put it together. It was a pretty quick build. And I don't know. And I'll say this, if anyone's a parent, but like whatever. Adults collect these too. But for Xavier, like maybe a year or so ago, he tried putting together brickheads and he got really frustrated. And this one he just blew through. And I don't know if it's because he's a year older or that maybe they're thinking, oh, kids want to put brickheads together too. But I don't know. That's just something that could or could not be helpful to parents who also buy collector toys for their kids.
Yeah.
I like Dave's toy review.
Yeah, I had to. I bought so many toys this week. So
I'm definitely buying some of those Godzillas.
This is a scented candle. Smells like cinnamon and spice. It's a little Christmassy for this time of year, but
this
enjoy
is where
it anyway.
This is where Justin will say, like, I set this all up, but let's see within arm's reach. Let's pull out Amazing Spider-Man #1. I have.
You're an asshole. I didn't know this.
There's a handwritten note from Steve Ditko with it.
You're stupid.
How about that?
Okay,
okay, look here. Here you go. Here's first appearance of Thanos.
Who's that?
All within arm's reach.
Wait, I thought the first appearance of Thanos was in fucking Logan's Run.
No, that was his first solo story.
Oh.
When you say Logan's Run.
Yes.
Yeah, believe it or not, Thanos, the character from the Marvel Universe, was in the Logan's Run comic book.
Really?
That was one of those books, Dave, where I held it in my hand so many times and like I didn't know what it was.
What it was, yeah.
Like this was like 15 years ago, and it's like I've still to this day never seen Logan's Run.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't?
So I was kind of like, whatever, like that's cool. And then all of a sudden, people start talking about like, and now that book's worth like $100.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I do have it now, but I
highly recommend the Logan's Run TV show.
Yeah.
Identify.
Why do some people try to escape carousel? Why do they become runners?
They're sick. Birth for a death.
Francis, have you ever seen anyone renewed? Born into another body?
We've been over this before. don't question the order of things. We're Sandmen. Our job is to hunt down runners and terminate them.
Alert! Runner! Intercept!
Logan, don't shoot!
Sandmen don't question the order of things.
Logan, Carousel is death. No one is renewed.
When you're 30, you'll die too.
Unless you run for sanctuary.
Terminate them! We're both runners now.
Logan's running.
Logan's Run. A run for the new life.
Watch that over the movie. The movie is like, overtly chin scratching, but like the TV show is like, if you love sci-fi 80s television or 70s television, like I do, like Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, shit like that, Logan's Run fits perfectly into that world. My last thought about Todd McFarlane, which is like not pro McFarlane. I always
say something negative. I'll say something positive.
Okay, all right, good. That's a good plan. All right, so like I remember this one time I watched the Dogtown and Z Boys documentary, right? And it was interviewing all these 30-year-old to 40-year-old men about what they did when they were 8. And like when they became 8 was like the peak of their fucking life, and they'd be talking about when they were 8 years old for the next 40 to 50 to 60 or 70 years. And I was just like, don't get me wrong, like, pioneers, right? And it's awesome what they did, and I respect it, and that's why the documentary is about them, and there's no documentary about me, so who am I to say, right? Having said all that, Todd McFarlane did all this amazing shit and changed the world, like for nerd stuff, but it's kind of like, it piggybacks to what you said, like, why didn't he draw issue 300? But like, what has he done lately? He hasn't done anything.
My take on it is, my frustration comes out of love, because it's like, again, if he drew Spawn, I'd probably start buying it again.
Right. You're pissed off because he needs to be
I will use that
content.
to piggyback into my compliment.
Okay.
Watching this documentary, I love that he, as much as I would love to see it as a fan, I give him nothing but massive respect for never going back on his word and ever working for Marvel or DC ever again.
Yeah, because every single one of them.
Every one of them has, like, all of them kind of, and I mean, it goes to what we've said. He was the leader of Image. Image was his idea. It was his idea. Every one of the 7 founders will say it was Todd who planted the seed.
Sure. And and Image isn't an official umbrella, right? That many like took refuge under, but let's say like unofficially, just the whole revolution of art and style and changing the game and rethinking how collectibles could be created. Like, he is the impetus of that. Like, he is the guy, like, period.
We've briefly talked about how, there was a second wave of 90s artists that you never really got into. Like the Stephen Platts.
Yeah. I feel like the first time I ever even heard that name was from you on this podcast.
Yeah, which is really well, I mean, in like the Joe Mad, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, Joe Maduria or something.
Yeah.
It was almost like, and it's funny, I sit there and I think back, it was like Marvel sought out like the second wave.
Right.
I'm like, well, they're going to leave us, we're going to find new people to take their place. And then those guys all left and did the same fucking thing. All those guys left and went to Image.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like, that, because those guys are, but that second wave of Marvel handpicked, like edgy new style artists, they fucking sucked, And I think one of the major reasons why they sucked, and this is my opinion, I know that you probably feel a little different, but I'm just putting out there what I need to say, is that I think that they sucked, and they weren't started. The reason why they sucked is because they were paying so much attention to style, right? And not substance. Like Todd McFarlane and Liefeld, their big, like some of their biggest influences were Art Adams and like John Byrne, right? And so when you combine those, you get. And then that Art Adams was influenced. He was the first like American comic book artist that was truly influenced by Japanese artists, right? So you have that interesting flow of influence and where style comes from. And now you get these guys, right? This next gen, and their only influence is Todd McFarlane. And they know nothing about anatomy and why things work. And like,
they don't know why Todd McFarlane or Rob Liefeld can play with anatomy and make it look it's funny, this whole conversation, you know, I think it was Mark Silvestri was talking about it in the documentary about how when McFarlane first showed up, and Marvel specifically, you know, and like you've talked about how many rejection letters he got, like hundreds and hundreds. And when he first showed up, people were trying to tell him like, yeah, you can't do it like that. You have to draw like this. And some of his early stuff is almost, you could look at it and say like, that doesn't look like Todd McFarlane at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the whole point of that art revolution that happened was to not tell them what to do, just let them go wild.
Right. Because the comics weren't doing well, and you know, you wanted to like try something new to try and make the comics do well. I mean, just like, you know, breaking out of panels, like that to me is like, I break out of, when I do draw comics, almost every single panel I draw on a page has something breaking out of it. And I do that in graphic design and illustration too. So it's just a thing that I do, but like I do that so reflexively, and that probably never would have happened were it not for Todd. You know, it's just little shit like that that like I think I personally as an artist take for granted.
I do the same thing with elastic waistbands. I sort of spill over.
Yeah, you spill over the bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a choice. It's a style choice.
Yeah, you know what? Don't let anyone tell you differently.